Hey everybody, it's Brandon Dawson. Welcome to the B. Dawson Show. This is going to be a great show. Just got back from Australia, from Sydney, Australia, where we had over 500 business owners attend our 10X Business Boot Camp. And, you know, I've always wanted to go to Sydney. The people were so amazing, and we got lucky with the weather. Actually, it's wintertime there, but the weather was perfect. It was like a fall Oregon day. So it felt very much at home. What I really wanted to talk to you about, though, is the conversations I've been having, not only in Sydney, but in LA. I was in LA for a week meeting with business owners and all over the world. One of the questions I get asked, and someone asked me yesterday, how can I help them with their business if I've never done their business? I think this is such a relevant question that I wanted to talk about it on today's show. And the whole point of this conversation is every single business owner I've ever worked with thinks there's something unique and interesting about their business, and how could someone possibly help them when they've been doing it for so many years and they haven't been able to figure things out. And what I want to say is that the business you do, there are intricacies in businesses. There's no question. There's service business, product businesses, there's technology businesses, there's different types of businesses, and there's different types of customers. But the elements of business, the things that people struggle with are the things they're not doing. It's the things they don't understand. It's how to find the right people, how to align them with the business objectives, how to get the most out of those people in order to complement the business opportunity, how to measure the business opportunity, how to understand the competitive advantages that you have over your competitors, how to message those competitive advantages, how to find, duplicate, replicate best practices so you can scale and grow your team. It's all the elements of the business, not necessarily the business. In fact, every time I get asked the question, how can you help me in my business if you don't work in my industry, I think of Michael Gerber's book, E-Myth, where he says you got to get out of working in the business so you can work on the business. And the reason I bring this up is because a majority of the business owners that are asking these questions are so focused working in the business, they're not even working on the business, and they don't have a partner to work on the business. So to differentiate what I do with business owners from what business owners do, I help the business owners work on the business. I help them identify the best, most effective ways to own, operate, manage, and grow their business, including how to structure it for exit. You know, so many business owners go through their cycle of their business, hopefully growing, grow, stabilize a little bit, grow more, and over time, they become better tomorrow than they were today and significantly better than they were yesterday. Then they get to the end of that time horizon where they want to take the value of what they've created off the table, and all of a sudden they realize it's not worth as much as they thought because they didn't technically do the right things while working on the business to protect it. And this isn't an Oregon issue, a Washington issue. This isn't a California issue or New Jersey issue. This isn't a Sydney, Australia issue or a Milan, Italy issue. This isn't a France issue, a German. It's an everybody issue. If you technically don't have the right elements in place for your business, then you will find it will technically break. And so bringing the technical aspect of the business of working on the business instead of just in the business is critically important to the overall success of the business owners and the people who worked in the business, trusting the business owners, believing that if they dedicated their time, energy, and effort over time, the business would have a payback for everybody involved. And so when people say, well, how do you understand business in Sydney? Like, how can you help us? All I have to do is ask 3 to 8 questions to understand how to help those businesses. Conversely, for people who are really good at what they do, see, if you don't have excellence in what you do, then becoming excellent and valuable is going to be difficult. If you're excellent at what you're doing, but you're not the best known and you don't know how to scale the best way and then propel your business to growth through scaling, then you're going to struggle. So understanding the elements that make you great, understanding the differentiators that you can message to explain to the local market and local communities that you're great are just as important as being great, because at some point, if you want to grow, the things that need to be in place, the elements that create leverage in your business through people, through process, through systems, through technologies, in order for all those things to come into play and elevate your overall business opportunity financially and with equity value, somebody has to help you put all that together. So to answer the question, how can we help business owners if we've never done their business? I would say, I would reverse that on them. How and who have you found to help you that's in your current business to grow it by 10, 20, 100x? Because most of the business owners that are struggling with the same elements that cause their business to stay small. And what we're going to do is we're going to teach people to break through the elements that are causing them to stay small. Some of the things that I talk to business owners about, like yesterday when I was on the phone with a guy, look, he's doing $50 million and he's grown it from 0 to 50 million. Well, he wants to go to 500 million, but because of the business, he hasn't been able to actually develop bandwidth within the team. He hasn't been able to identify key players that are properly and appropriately aligned with the business opportunity. So he's getting what he feels is the most out of his team, but he's not really getting the most out of the team. Like, the team doesn't want to develop other future leaders because they're all safe right now. The team doesn't really want to put systems and process in place because they have job security right now. The team is comfortable, so therefore they're going to keep the business comfortable, which then handicaps the business owner's ability to grow the business to another level of success. And maybe with that growth, they're going to have to navigate which team players stay on board and which team players go, and what kind of systems, process, procedures, and technologies do they want to deploy into the organization and allow it to go to scaling. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is, how do you get a team that's been with you for a period of time to sit down and understand that for them to succeed, the business needs to succeed at a higher level of success. Well, the way you do that is by aligning their interests with the growth of the business, not by just rewarding them for what the business is doing, but actually sitting down and saying, hey guys, hey team, hey gals, we have done a great job of getting to where we're at today. But the vision for the business to succeed needs to be 10x. So we need to go from 50 million to 500 million. We have to rely on our intrinsic knowledge and experience collectively as a group in order to 10x the business. But we also have to do things that none of us have done before, because we're not talking about doing them now. And in the process of that expansion, first our mind expansion and then our doing expansion, we need to make sure that we're all aligned in where we're going and what the destination is. So you literally need to change the incentives, the long-term incentives, so your team understands we're here, we're comfortable, the opportunity's there, and the mission of the organization is to get there. And here's what's going to be in it for you for helping us grow and expand our competencies, our awareness, our intelligence, our doing. Here are the elements that we need to put in place in order to grow as a team. And here's the consequences for those team members that aren't putting forth the energy, effort, or desire to bring these elements into play. And the elements might be outside consultants to come in and do coaching. It might be a shift in how you're doing business. It might be an innovation within your own organization. What I would do in that case is I would ask the team, I'd say we have two choices. We can stay where we're at, which is not really a choice, or we can grow by 10x. If the team's job was to bring to me a process of which we could leverage within the organization to grow to 10x, what would those recommendations, what would those solutions, what would that look like? Team, I want to give you guys 2 weeks for you to present to me and a few advisors that I've brought on board on how we can 10x our organization. And if we can't come up with any recommendations or suggestions from anybody on the team, then I'm going to look to my outside advisors to help me put a plan together to do it. What that does is it puts your team in a little bit of checkmate to get them to understand that we are growing by 10x. I'm serious, I'm committed, and I'm going to do it as a business owner. It also gives them an opportunity to come to you with the things that they've recognized over the years that could make the business better that you've not incorporated, you've not done. And maybe you've created a culture where don't bring these things to me because I'm comfortable too. And so you have to look, law of mirror, John Maxwell's law of mirror. You got to look in the mirror and see what you're getting back because it's a direct representation of you. Your culture, your environment, your organization is a reflection of you. You want to change the image in the mirror, you have to do some things differently than you were doing in the past. Then you have to condition your team to follow the leader. And the way you do that is by understanding, first of all the great ideas and concepts and suggestions and recommendations they have. Then a little trick. Go to the layer just below them and ask them to do the same thing. So have a meeting with your executive team and say, here's the deal, 10X, come to me with a plan. And oh, by the way, executive team, I've randomly selected some of our top performers from around the organization, and I'm going to be asking them for their recommendations on how they think we can 10X the business. Because sometimes your second tier people that are maybe even on the bubble of leaving because they don't think you're serious about growing the business have better suggestions or recommendations than the people that you put in charge of them that are comfortable and happy where they're at. So getting a perspective from within the organization, along with you gaining a perspective from your advisors and guidance, whoever you're getting your guidance and advice from, and then having your teams present to you. And if your teams can't present any ideas, that should tell you something about the kind of team you've created. If they do come back with great ideas and suggestions, then you can say to the team, let's put an operating plan together to go after some of these things and start putting our toe in the water to cultivate this growth opportunity. Versus what you never want to do is just say, good, we're going to stop what we're doing. We're going to completely pivot the organization and we're going to go another direction. So you don't want to break what works. You want to add on top of what works and make it a little better. And that's what Jim Collins talks about, good to great, great by choice, and how the mighty fall. Granular incremental improvement over time, by definition, is innovation. So you don't want to innovate from cold start to something new and risk your organization. You want to innovate what works to try to make it bigger, better, more impactful. And through asking your team their concepts, their ideas, their perspective, their recommendations, their solutions to help make the organization better and bigger, you're going to get transparency into how they think, which is why they do what they do. And if you find that you've handicapped your organization because you've surrounded yourself with a bunch of non-thinkers, only doers, because you have conditioned them to engage that way, you have to change the expectations for engagement. You got to teach them to be contributors. You got to teach them to bring their ideas forward. And you have to teach them to think on behalf of the growth of the business in order to drive the business to the next level. Because what you think is what you say is what you do, and what you do becomes your legacy. So if your legacy is we've built a $50 million business where everyone's comfortable, everyone's satisfied, everyone's making the kind of money they want to make, and we're all doing hunky-dory, then you're going to struggle creating a $500 million business. So changing your thinking to change your doing so you can change your results is, by definition, the first change you have to go through. So my recommendation and choice to you is this. If all this sounds hard to you, no worries. Go to 10x360.com. These are the programs that we're building for the people that we're working with. So you'll have the structure, the strategy, and the leadership to help you make the mind shift to be able to understand what you need to be thinking about. So your doing can follow your thinking, and then your results can follow your concepts and ideas. Nobody gets excited about working in a mediocre environment. So the number one challenge for a business owner is driving people to the next level of success. I want to dedicate this show to all the entrepreneurs and business owners I've had the privilege to be working with at Cardone Ventures by pushing all of our thinking together all over the world, and how excited I am for 2020 because we are going to change the dimension of how independent business owners think, look, feel, and succeed in their business in 2020 at GrowthCon. So I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the experiences I had while in Australia. I can't wait to go back. In fact, this next trip back, we're going to have over 1,000 businesses there. So thanks for joining me on the B. Dawson Show, and I hope that you connect with me and let me know how this has elevated your thinking.